Continuing on with the theme of Game of Thrones Season 8 air quotations, spoilers, in this video we're going to discuss some of the more well-known leaks that are backed up by some of the actual confirmed pictures that were taken during the filming process of Game of Thrones Season 8. Let's begin. Before we get started, please slap a like on this video as the like goal will be 420, and also make sure you leave a comment down below as well as have your notifications turned on all the way. Okay, so these spoilers kind of jump all throughout the season, but I'm going to start off with what is supposed to happen in episode 1 and 2. So apparently, and these leaks were posted over on Reddit/FreeFolk, which is linked down below in the description. You can go and check them out for yourself. But episode 1 and 2 is mostly set up in reunions/political drama. Episode 3 and 4 is the Winterfell battle, and then the aftermath. And then episode 5 is the King Landing battle, riots, and chaos. And then episode 6, which is the final episode of Game of Thrones in this iteration, will be the epic finale of the Great War and a Dream of Spring epilogue. So I'm extremely curious about this. If this leak is legit, which it's not because most of these are supposed to be taken with less than a grain of salt, but I can totally agree with the fact that episode 6 will be a bunch of, or will contain rather, some spoilers for A Dream of Spring, which is actually the last book that's set to come out after Winds of Winter. Jon and Daenerys' relationship survives Jon's parentage reveal. They fight the Night King and the Army of the Dead together all the way to the very bitter end. Winterfell is attacked by Cersei's army. The Night King and the Army of the Dead arrive after Cersei's army leaves in order to finish the job. Winterfell will fall and the survivors will retreat south. So then apparently the Night King will follow all of those survivors south, and he eventually burns King's Landing to the ground. There is a bunch of evidence that supports this, which I'm going to cover here in a little bit towards the end of this video. There will in fact be another dragon pit sequence in King's Landing prior to the battle. This sequence is set to blow everyone's mind, and that is in quotations. Now, the Night King and the others, their motivation is revealed, and it turns out they're not just simply weapons of mass destruction who are going around wreaking havoc and killing everything. Instead, their motivation will be revealed, and it ties everything together. So every single White Walker related sequence we've seen in this series is all going to come to a giant head towards the end of this. I'm guessing sometime between episode 5 and 6. Obviously after the major battle between them is done. Maybe some of them are able to escape, who knows. By the end of the very last episode, not only will we find out the true motivation behind the White Walkers and the Night King, but also we get to see Jon Snow and Daenerys' baby. Now one thing this fleeker or this fake leaker mentioned a lot during this, sort of season 8 guide outline, and if you guys want me to do a part 2 and a part 3, well, let me know down in the comment section and I'll definitely cover that. But one thing they mention is that the pacing is all over the place, right? So there's time travel, there's time jumps, all of that is present in season 8, mainly so that the characters are where they need to be. Now, they kind of do a decent job of explaining how far things are in Game of Thrones, so the fact that these characters are going to be jumping around, it's going to be a little bit hard to follow, but it's mainly all just for storytelling's sake. We can't spend massive amounts of time showing characters travel when there's only 6 episodes, so I do kind of think that that has some validity to it. Okay, so on to that news of the massive A Dance with Dragons style battle that's supposed to take place in episode 6. Now apparently, Emilia Clarke and the actor or the stunt double who plays the actor of the Night King, they were actually reported on set around the same time. Now the dates can be very varying because since they're in Europe, a lot of actors are seen at different airports at different times, but for the most part, the two actors were in Belfast at the time, and there aren't many pictures of this, but it's going to be filmed inside because of course this battle is going to be heavy CGI, so there's going to need to be green screens surrounding the actors during this scene at all times. Now it's not mentioned in these leaks whether Jon and Rhaegal are going to be joining the dragon riding, but I can only imagine that this sort of epic fight will have to have some epic conclusion. So now either both the Night King and Daenerys will die along with Jon Snow, or one of them is gravely wounded and Jon is forced to go and rescue Daenerys after fighting the Night King. I'm not sure exactly how the battle is going to go down, but some of the confirmed spoilers were that, just to sort of lightly summarize, there was a dragon mount that has been used for Daenerys when she was riding Drogon. That mount has been spotted. There were Emilia Clarke and the actor who plays the Night King spotted as well, so one can only draw two natural conclusions as to what is going on. But if you guys watching right now If you leave a comment down below letting me know that you want to see all out spoilers and you want to see every single image that has come up from behind the scenes, well, let me know and I'll get started on that video right away. But for the rest of this video, I found a new set of plot leaks and I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video with the episode 1 plot leak. Obviously, I'm going to continue covering the rest of them. It goes all the way up to episode 4, but the leaks that I were covering that I was past started to fall apart. Now, I still can make a couple videos for that or maybe a giant live stream for that, but let me know down below. Now, like I said, all these leaks come from Reddit/Freefolk, which is linked down below in the description, so make sure you go and check that out to get the source of the sources. What this person remembers of episode 1 includes the episode starting with a massive crowd of unorganized whites walking across the broken side of the wall, and they are scattered all over the land, marching south and killing everyone on their way, with the Night King staying behind in the rear, awakening all of the dead fallen. Dorne has been marching towards King's Landing. Allies are joining them. Sansa was informed by Bran about the breach of the wall. She tries to send word for everyone, including the Night's Watch, to gather at Winterfell, where the lack of numbers and every single soldier is needed. For the dangers they vowed to protect the realm of men against are no longer on the other side of the wall. It's mentioned that the weather became so bad that ravens cannot fly north or east. There is also this response being written by a woman to the Citadel/Maester, who have sent a letter asking about the truth of the White Walkers. The ship which carries Daenerys is encountered by a big enemy fleet coming from Essos. Drogon and Rhaegal burn a couple ships, while the majority of the Jon and Daenerys' group, they continue sailing towards Westeros. Queen Cersei has a tough conversation with her maester, who is frightened. Qyburn challenges her about the seriousness of the threat of the undead by expressing his worry and also his intention to share key information with the guys who are going into battle with them against the north. Cersei refuses to let him go, and the argument escalates to where Cersei orders the guards to arrest him. So apparently Qyburn is going to turn on Cersei. I call bullcrap. Melisandre has been traveling on a new mission. Theon Greyjoy is caught/arrested in King's Landing with a bunch of Ironborns, thrown into a cell. Cersei's knights walk into the dungeon, they kill the guards, and unlock the maester. So apparently what this person is trying to get across, but they so terribly failed in this plot leak, was the fact that Qyburn is trying to warn Cersei about the threat of the dead. Cersei does not take this threat seriously, therefore Qyburn is locked up and thrown into a cell. But then Qyburn is rescued by the Mountain, who, it turns out, he is ultimately loyal to Qyburn and not to Cersei. Apparently at some point, Daenerys arrives at her destination with Jon, and they apparently arrive at White Harbor. The ship cannot go any further since the weather is so bad and the water has frozen into ice. They descend on land towards the city. Jon receives a letter delivered from Bran that the White Walkers have breached each watch and that they already annihilated the last hearth and soon maybe Carhold as well. Jon commands the people at the city of the Arbor to burn the dead and escape/leave to the King's Road towards Winterfell for protection. This group of survivors led by Jon attempt to send ravens east and west. The ravens cannot fly any further north in this weather, so Jon decides himself to go and warn Hornwood while the White Walkers should be somewhere around the Dreadfort. Tyrion advises him not to do this because he may die. Jon tells him that he may die, but he would prevent the army of the dead from getting bigger. He tells Tyrion that they are his people, and they also had helped during the Battle of the Bastards, so he owes this to them. Daenerys tells Jon to go together by dragon because it is faster. They can warn more people and burn the graves than fly to Winterfell. Both Tyrion and Jon tried to convince her not to. Then the episode wraps up with Dornish and other armies. It's not made clear on who their allegiance ally to, but the Dornish and these other armies arrive to King's Landing for a battle. Cersei is frightened and believes they can lose the city if they are attacked. She starts to burn everything, and then crap goes down. Daenerys and Jon fly towards Hornwood, and Euron Greyjoy arrives at King's Landing with a massive army. And this is right where episode 1 ends. So if you guys want me to cover episode 2, 3, and 4, let me know down in that comment section. Now, just as a sort of reminder, all of these leaks are not confirmed in any way. Some of them have pictures that sort of back up what, the speculation is, but for the most part, it's all that in and of itself, which is just speculation. So they're meant to be taken with less than a grain of salt and are more meant to be sort of like fan fiction / filler until we actually get an announcement for season 8 or a trailer. Now, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video, the like goal will be 420. Also, leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on these spoilers, and if you want me to make episode 2 of this new plot leak. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews, and super special shout out to every single person watching this video. My name's Mark. This has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.